Welcome to the 2021-22 Heart of America Athletic Conference Women's Basketball Media Day. I'm your host, Stephen Davis. Today we're joined by the first-year head coach at Peru State College, Ian Holleran. Coach, how's it going today?
Doing really well, Stephen. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, we're glad to have you as you head into your first year one as a collegiate head coach. How excited are you to get started with what the players like most, the games, and get out of just practicing all the time?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. We just had our 22nd practice this morning. The preseason has definitely flown by and getting ready for Doan on Saturday. But I think our players are ready. The 13 players that we have at the varsity level have really bought in since last spring and since the fall, kind of with the culture I'm trying to build here. And my two assistant coaches are a pleasure to work with. And I think everyone's just excited. We talked a lot about kind of building the culture and kind of getting the Peru State women's basketball program to the level that we know it can get to. And, it's tough work and it's something that we have to really grind and work hard every day. But, I wouldn't ask for, a better group of players and coaches to do it with.
Awesome. You mentioned the word grind. The preseason practices can be that as folks get itchy for games. How have the preseason practices gone so far?
They've been going really well. Obviously there's still things that we got to work at and get better, but I think every coach, across the country would say that right now. But kind of as I mentioned before, this group, we don't have to teach their effort. We don't have to teach their energy. They do a really good job of just coming in the gym every day and being ready to work. And, I think that's kind of with how things went last year with not having a good season and with it being a COVID year. I kind of think this year is a breath of fresh air for the women's basketball program. And, I think this group knows kind of what's at stake and how tough of a schedule, we play and in the preseason and once we get into conference. And so they've been working really, really hard with preseason practices, and I think we'll be ready to go Saturday.
And once you guys get going with games, you've got a lot of early season non-conference games coming fast and furious. What do you hope your team gets from those early season non-con games?
For sure. Well, we're young. We played a lot of freshmen last year and they all got their year back this year. And so right now with kind of looking at our roster and our rotation, we're going to be playing a lot of freshmen, a lot of COVID freshmen. We do have some upperclassmen, but both of our seniors, one's a transfer in Lucia Peavy, and Tara was with the program 2 years ago, had an injury, and with COVID last year, wasn't able to be back here. So I'm just excited to have this group play together, to learn how to play together, to learn how to win close games. Learn how to fight when there's adversity against them. And so it's definitely a heavy schedule early on with a lot of games, but I think it's going to prepare us really well. And, by the time that first conference game comes against William Penn, I hope we have things going and we're ready to roll.
You mentioned a couple names already. Let's dive a little deeper into your squad. Who are some of the players you expect to lead you on the offensive end? Who's going to put up some points for you this year?
For sure. So we bring back Maddie Duncan, who was a freshman last year, shot it almost 50% from three on the year, was one of the top freshmen scoring wise. She'll be a main focal point of our offense. Sam Stewart and Mackenzie Shoup as well. We're both almost double digit scores as freshmen. And then we brought in NCAA transfer in Lucia Peavy. She played 2 years at Arkansas State, one at Arkansas Tech, started a lot of games at the Division I and Division II level. She's a big time player for us. She can play inside, she can play out. And I really think we'll be able, to run a lot of the offense through her. So those are three names, obviously, that I think will score the ball for us at a pretty high clip, or actually four names with Lucia. And then there's some other people, we have some freshmen, we have some other players that I expect to step up. I think we're a lot more deeper this year than we have been in years past. So if, teams take away one player, we can have two or three others that step up. So I'm excited. We've been scoring the ball pretty well in practice, but obviously, when the ball tips up against Doan, it's a whole other story. So we'll see how it looks Saturday, but I think it'll be good offensively for us.
How about the other end of the floor on defense? Who are you counting on to be leaders for you at the defensive end?
Yeah, that's something we've really stressed in preseason practices. My assistant coach, Brianna Bogard, has kind of taken the role as our defensive coordinator. And we've really been getting after it defensively. And, I think it starts with ball pressure from the guards. I think in years past, we maybe didn't do a good enough job of pressuring the other teams, of not letting other teams get into their stuff. And so this year we're really stressing ball pressure. And then down low, we have, Julie Miller and Lucia Peavy are both 6'1", 6'2". They're long, can expect them to alter some shots from the post. But, we've really stressed just intensity from the defensive level. We've been holding people accountable in practice. And, Again, we just want to do a better job this year of taking teams out of what they're trying to run offensively, not letting teams be comfortable, not letting ball handlers be comfortable. So again, that's been a really, big stressor in the preseason practices, and I'm excited to see how it looks Saturday.
Coach, we mentioned it's your first year at Peru State. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you landed in Peru in charge of the Bobcat women's basketball program.
For sure. So I was a graduate assistant at St. Edward's University for 2 years in Austin, Texas. Worked for two great coaches in JJ Reel and Matt Miner. Learned a lot from both of them. Kind of learned what it took to run a college basketball program successfully. And then I was lucky enough to get the assistant job here and work for 2 years. And I was able to create great relationships with the players, recruit a lot of these players in here, and then was able to get the job this past spring. And this is where I want to be. I'm super, super excited. I love coming into work every day. And, I just know that this is a program that we can take to the level we want it to get to. And it's going to be a process. And, the Heart of America is as tough of a conference as there is in the NAIA. So it's going to be a grind every single day. But I'm excited. And just with the players we have now and the recruits that we'll bring in the future, I think Peru State women's basketball is really going to be, a special program down the road.
When did you decide in your career, early on, later, that you decided you wanted to be a head college basketball coach? When did that become a goal for you?
Yeah, so I had worked as a high school coach for a couple years, and just there was kind of some coaching changes, and I actually was a finalist for a high school head job and didn't get it, and was just kind of talking with some of my mentors and coaches, and they had mentioned to me, hey, why don't give the college game a try? That's kind of always been something since I was a little kid. I wanted to be a head college basketball coach. So I just emailed a bunch of coaches in Nebraska. I was working as a teacher, was lucky enough to volunteer at Nebraska Wesleyan for a year. Told my school I wasn't coming back at the end of the year, had a position there lined up, and then the head coach there resigned. So I was without a job for a couple of months, but I was all in. And so I moved home. My parents were, I was lucky enough they let me, kind of couch surf with them for a couple of weeks, and then was lucky to get to Texas. And from there, I was just like, I'm all in on this. This is what I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. So I'm living out my dream. But like I tell the players, this is their program. I get to have, this job because of them. I get to live out my dream because of them. And at the end of the day, no one's looking at who the head coach is. They're looking at who the players are. The players win games for us. I could draw up the best play in the world. But the players are the ones that are going to have to make those plays. And I think we got some good ones in place here this year.
Awesome. Hey, you mentioned how tough the Heart is. What does it take for your team to perform well night in and night out once you get into the Heart schedule?
Sure. I think it's going to be consistency for us. The Heart is one of those conferences. We've been towards the bottom the last couple of years, but there's no easy games. So, whether we're playing a team that finished last year or whether we're playing, the defending champ, every game, is one that you're going to have to battle. There's really great coaches in this league. Teams are going to have you scouted really well. And there's, amazing players. Big time transfers, big time high school players. And so I'm just trying to really, in the preseason and in our non-conference games, just kind of teach, hey, we got to be ready to go every single night. We can't take, especially us. We finished towards the bottom last year. We're picked towards the bottom this year. We got to earn everything that we're going to get this year. And we can't take any opponent for granted. Every single team we play each night is very, very talented, very, very well coached. And so I'm excited. I think with a young team and with me being a young head coach, my assistant coaches, we're probably the youngest staff in the conference. Everyone is in their 20s. It's going to be a great learning experience for us. But like I said before, I think we have a team that is talented enough to compete in the Heart this year. And we're going to battle, but again, we're going to have to earn everything we get this year. And I think our team and our coaching staff is excited to do that.
All that said, what are some goals you have for your squad for this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've really talked about just taking it a day at a time. Our focus right now is Doan. I know that's kind of cliche. It's coach speak, but I think for us to get where we want to get this year, we have to take care of our non-conference schedule. And then once we get in the Heart, the women's basketball team at Peru has not made the conference tournament. I think since it went to 8 teams, and our goal, we want to get to the postseason, and the first postseason tournament that we can reach is the Heart of America conference tournament. And if you get in that top 8, with ways that it's played out in the past and with the tournament, now expanding this year, if you're in that top 8, you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance to, win a game and get to the postseason. And so Obviously we have lofty goals for the program this year. But right now we're just taking it one day at a time, and we're focusing on beating Doane. And after that, we're going to focus on beating Bellevue, and then just taking it one day at a time.
That's Peru State head coach Ian Holleran. Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck this year.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. Go Bobcats.